to say the least. Wildfires are out west. Worst earthquake in probably 100 and something years in Mexico overnight, if you hadn't heard. The Super Bowl champion Patriots got beat last night. All of these are signs of the end times, if you didn't know. Oh, no joking matter with the hurricanes and stuff, though. I mean, you guys that are facing that stuff, our prayers are with you, and we hope you guys are getting out of Florida, the ones that need to, and can make it out and all of that stuff. It's looking like it's going to be nasty. The stuff coming in, the pictures coming in from the Caribbean are wild. If you haven't heard, overnight, Equifax released some information that the worst data breach in the history of data breaches occurred. It's not the largest, but it's the worst. And here's what has happened, if you didn't know. Equifax got hacked over the summer. They released that information today. 143 million people's credit bureau reports were invaded and hacked. And the reason it's the worst is Yahoo had a bigger one. I had more people, but it wasn't as thorough. These people got your social security number, your date of birth, your name, your address. They got all the stuff they need to hack the crud out of you. And where the other thing they got, Yahoo was like they got an email address or something, okay? But they got everything from Equifax. They cleaned Equifax's plow. And it's bad. It is. I'm not a hyper guy. I'm not a melodramatic guy, but this is bad. And this is the third time recently that Equifax has been hammered. And they're doing all the correct PR things. And, Rick White, their CEO, there's a wonderful email, man. If you haven't seen it, you should go look at it on their website. Those of you, Rick Smith, I'm sorry, is the guy's name, the CEO and chairman of Equifax. It is a study in how to handle the public relations aspect of a disaster like this. The guy is stellar. He does everything he's supposed to do in this situation. Doesn't fix the fact that because of them, a bunch of you are screwed. And this is the third time recently. So even though they did a great job with the PR handling of it, let me give you another piece of information. There are several class action lawsuits are already popping up on this. And Equifax, of course, is offering free monitoring and free credit repair. Brought to you by the people who got hacked. So, I mean, it's a nice offer, but that's kind of stupid, all right? And here's the worst part of it. If you sign up for the free monitoring, you, in the fine print, will waive your right to sue them. A little underhanded to stick that in the fine print that you can't participate in the class action lawsuit because they're the ones that screwed you. I mean, they didn't do it intentionally, but this is the largest... this is the largest database of all of our stuff that they took from us without our permission. I didn't turn over anything to Equifax. They scarfed it and built a file on me. They did on you, too. They collect data on you. That's how they create your credit score. You didn't send them any of that. It isn't a voluntary process. And it's certainly not a government agency. And so, those of you that worship at the FICO score, here's the price you pay. Oh, and by the way, a bunch of people are tweeting and going, well, Dave Ramsey listeners, people who don't borrow money, don't have a credit score. I'm really glad I don't have a credit score. It's no big deal. They're not going to get hit. Yeah, they are. My wife's got hit. She was one of them. And that's an account that has a 0 credit score and has been frozen for probably a decade. So even if your credit was frozen and even if you have no credit score, they still got all your stuff. My personal assistant's got hit. So there's the deal. Now, that's all the bad news. Bad news is Equifax sucks. Wow, that's not really news. Okay. And they're going to screw you again if you sign up for their free monitoring because you're not going to you're not going to be able to be included in any class action lawsuits, which I'm not going to do personally anyway, but I just think that's slimy. You stand in front of the camera and go, "We're so very sorry. We're so sorry. We have worked hard and been diligent and done everything we wanted to do, but we're sorry." But yeah, when you sign this in the fine print, you give up your right to do a class action. Yeah, just wrong. Just tells you what's really going on in places like that. So, I mean, they collect your data against your will, use it for their profit, and then don't protect it. That's pretty bad. So, what do you do if you're one of the 143 million? What do we do with Sharon Ramsey? You know, what do we do? Well, Sharon Ramsey has Zander Insurance Identity Theft Protection, which means that if the thieves were to use her data, there's no indication yet that it has been used, just that it's been stolen. If they were to use her data to open an account, and it shows up, and a fraudulent account, a medical account, a fraudulent Social Security account, a fraudulent tax account, a fraudulent debt account. They open up debt, open up a credit card in Sharon Ramsey's name. That would be humorous, wouldn't it? Because for divorce if she did it, but if they do it, it's... but if they were to do that, then Zander Identity Theft Protection, which you can buy today, by the way, and I would suggest you do that because they don't have any fine print that says you can't class action Equifax's butt in their stuff, right? They're an independent operation. And the difference is not just monitoring. You don't want to just get somebody that monitors your credit bureau report or monitors you for identity theft. You want someone who has a caseworker that takes over all the work and handles cleaning up the mess if someone utilizes this theft of identity in order to open accounts. The problem is not that you owe money. The problem is you have to go through all this hassle and pain in the butt working with a credit card company that you didn't do anything with and that you don't owe any money to. But you're trying to explain to them that some scumburger out of 143 million people, which, by the way, there's 300 million people in the U.S., a whole bunch of them are infants and children, and a bunch of people are off the grid completely that absolutely have no data whatsoever. And so out of 300 million, 143 million is like everybody. That's, I mean, it's percentage of the data that it's like they got all of it just about. I mean, you think about that. That's unbelievable. And how do they not have any kind of cybersecurity alarms that go off before something gets this far in is beyond me. I mean, I understand it can happen. It can happen to us. Anybody can get hit. And by the way, your data's gonna get stolen by somebody. Just kind of super aggravating when it's those people. And so you need identity theft protection. Everyone does. I've got it on me. I got it on my whole family. I buy it for my whole team. So go to ZanderInsurance.com and get that. We'll talk more about this.
About attacking Chris. You can find an investment professional.
Well, I'm here to tell you can. 3 million of you, Equifax got cleaned out. And again, their CEO and chairman, Rick Smith, did a fabulous job on the PR. But there's a lot of stuff that's not right here. One being that if you sign up for the free monitoring that they're offering, you are down in the fine print being required to give up your right to be involved in a class action lawsuit, which I wouldn't have you to do that anyway. So the second thing that has come out is this is from Bloomberg, 3 Equifax senior executives sold sold their own stock, worth $1.8 million in the days after the company discovered a security breach that may have compromised information on 143 million U.S. consumers. The trio had not yet been informed of the incident, the company said late Thursday. The credit report, in other words, they sold stock after it was discovered, but supposedly these guys didn't know it before it was public, because you know what their stock's doing today, right? I mean, it's tanking. And so Credit Reporting Service said earlier in a statement that it discovered the intrusion on July 29th, and regulatory filings show that on August 1st, Chief Financial Officer John Gamble sold shares worth $940 $6,374. And Joseph Lundgren, president of U.S. Information Solutions, exercised options to dispose of $584,000. Now, let me help you with this. The chief financial officer, the CFO of the organization, and the guy in charge of U.S. Information Solutions didn't know that there'd been a data breach. I mean, really? You really? Your CFO doesn't know. He should be fired just for being incompetent. If your CFO doesn't know you've had a data breach, your CFO's an idiot. I mean, you guys are awful. So, yeah, he knew. I'm sorry, I don't believe you. I mean, if it was, junior third baseman, second, 15th guy on the bench guy, he might not have known. But the freaking CFO of a publicly traded company has a $143 million data breach. He knows instantaneously. He's one of the first that's informed. He probably knew before the chairman of the board knew. I mean, come on. And if he didn't, it just shows how incompetent you people are. So in either case, you're a joke. You're just a joke. Unbelievable. Now, how does this affect you? This is all that's important other than me trashing Equifax, which I just love doing. But you guys know how bad I hate the FICO score anyway, right? I mean, you know how I hate you being forced in our culture to worship at the altar of the great FICO, and you spend all your money trying to run your score up by borrowing money so that you can borrow more money and all this crap that these people have looped you into. And then on top of that, they, geez, unbelievable. So, I mean, hey, everybody can have a data breach. I mean, Ramsey Solutions could be having a data breach as I speak, and I wouldn't know it until the end of the day. But I would know it, but they would call me at 2 a.m. and wake me up, okay? My guys would not. And we're just a little bitty unsophisticated company compared to this one. So, anyway, what do you do if you're one of the 143 million? The first thing you do is you freeze your credit bureau account. And if you haven't, you need to freeze it. It's going to cost you a little money, but that helps because anyone who, let's say the thieves took your name and applied for a Visa card at Bank of America. Now, Bank of America issues about 8 out of 10 visas without checking credit. So they're going to issue the card unless you're one of the 2 out of 10. If you're one of the 2 out of 10, they check your credit and it's frozen. The card would be denied. The thief would not get to use your identity. So a frozen account does help. It doesn't guarantee, but it does help. So that's step 1. Step 2 is you monitor it. You pull copies of your credit bureau report, all 3 of them, not just Equifax's. You pull them once a year. You should be looking at them once a year anyway, just because. I'm not saying you're trying to run up your credit score. I'm not saying you care about your credit. I'm not saying that. But you just ought to check in on your electronic reputation and make sure that somebody's not screwing around with your stuff, right? So you monitor it. That's just a smart thing to do. That's just good financial planning to start with, okay? You monitor it. You freeze it. You have to unfreeze it to check it and then freeze it back. Cost you $20 or whatever. Just do it, okay? Shut up. Don't wait on Equifax to fix your problem because obviously they don't have your best interest at heart. Oh, Lord. And then you need to get something like Xander Insurance's identity theft. Now, you guys think I'm turning this into an ad, but there's a reason that I carry identity theft insurance. It's because people freaking steal identity all the time from everybody. I mean, you got Target, you got TJ Maxx, you got the government, you got Yahoo, and now you got Equifax for the 3rd time has been violated. And they get your information. They're going to get your information somewhere. If you haven't had a debit card or those of you that still use a credit card shut down due to fraudulent transactions and the algorithm pops up, you're pretty unusual. My debit card was shut down 6 weeks ago. Somebody picked up the number somewhere. Started charging stuff at places that Dave never attends. And so we went, yeah, probably not me at that one, yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah. So, yeah, the algorithm caught that, and I wasn't in Mexico. Go figure. Who knew? And so, shut it down. So you're going to get your identity theft stolen. You need something like identity theft protection. Now, remember, if your identity gets stolen, your problem is not that you owe the money. If someone takes my wife's name, which was one of the 143 million that got stolen, and opens an account in her name, I don't owe any money. Sharon doesn't owe any money. You don't owe money when someone steals your stuff, okay? But you have to convince the idiots that opened the account. In my example earlier, the idiot would be Bank of America, right? They issued a credit card without checking credit, which makes them an idiot, okay? But we already knew they were idiots. It's freaking Bank of America, okay? So, you know, they didn't check. So now there's a credit card opened in Sharon Ramsey's name floating around out there because somebody stole her information from Equifax and opened a Bank of America Visa card. This is an example. It hasn't happened, okay? It's not going to happen. But then the problem is I can call Bank of America and get their fraud victim division on the line, and the first thing I have to do is spend the first 45 minutes of my life convincing these idiots that we didn't actually open the account, and then we just didn't want to pay it, so we're claiming fraud. The first thing they do is accuse you at the fraud victim division of the credit card company of being the thief. And you have to explain to them, look, doofus, we're not paying this. You don't have her signature on file. You don't have her handwriting on file. We're not legally obligated. Well, you have to file a police report. Yep, I will be filing that police report. Well, you're going to have to sign affidavits. Yep, I'll be signing those affidavits. But guess what? If you have something like Xander Insurance's identity theft protection, the good identity theft protection, they don't just do monitoring, they don't just do freezing, they take over the problem, and there's a caseworker that calls Bank of America for us, and Sharon and I won't have to deal with it. And they take care of all this crap. And then it's the 100 hours per account that it takes to clean this crap up that's the problem. It's not that you actually owe money, it's that it's a drain on your productivity and out of the very marrow of your bones. And that's what you need to do. So freeze your account, monitor your account yourself, and make sure you've got identity theft protection. And it's not too late to have ID theft protection because, again, the reason this is so serious, the reason I've taken 2 entire segments on this is the misbehavior by Equifax in their handling of this, the sale of insider trading of stock, number 1. And number 2, the fine print in the agreement you sign that relieves you of the ability to participate in class action lawsuit, pretty underhanded. And I'll guarantee you that's not pointed out to you when it's sent to you. Stuff you get only on the Dave Ramsey Show. But, yeah. But the things you can do are what's important. So you monitor it, you freeze your account, you get identity theft protection because no one has stolen your identity yet. They just stole your information. It might not ever actually get used. Pray. That's what I pray. I hope it never gets used. I hope there's never a problem for any of you. But that's kind of unlikely because some Russian mobster somewhere now has your numbers. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.